I am going to make you a bet, right here, right now, before I show you a single thing. I bet you that clogged toilet sitting in your bathroom, the one you have been staring at like it owes you money, clears in less time than it takes your coffee to cool. Not with a plunger, not with a snake, not with a $150 house call, with two things you already own and about 90 seconds of patience. I have been doing this work for 45 years, 4.5 decades of getting called to other people's bad mornings. And I will tell you straight, I have poured a lot of hot water into a lot of bowls in that time. But the first time I watched this exact method drop a clog and hear that sound, that deep, quiet gulp where the water just leaves, I stood there with my jaw open. I timed it. Under 2 minutes, in 45 years on the job, I have never seen a toilet unclog that fast, and I have never forgotten how simple it was. So keep your phone in your pocket. Do not call anybody yet. Let me walk you through it, one step at a time, the way my Uncle Ray walked me through it on a cold garage floor a long time ago. Now here is how this is going to go. I am not going to hand you one trick and send you off. I am going to give you 8 steps, in order, the exact order I run them in, when I am standing over a bad bowl myself. Some of these you have heard of, some of them you have heard wrong. And number 6 is the one almost nobody checks. The one that separates a 2-minute fix from a 2-hour headache. So do not click off before we get there. I am also holding back a bonus tip at the very end, a $5 tool that finishes the job when the water alone cannot, and it beats a plumber every day of the week. Let me get into it. Number 1, read the bowl before you touch anything. Number 1, before you pour a single drop, you read the bowl. This is the step everybody skips, and it is the one that tells you whether the rest of this even works. Look at the water level. If the bowl is filled up near the rim, sitting high and still, that is a full stop. Do not flush again. I mean it. Ask me how I know. A second flush on a high bowl does not clear anything. It just sends clean water over the edge and onto your floor. And now you have a clog and a flood and a bad afternoon. Reach behind the toilet, turn the little shutoff valve clockwise, and stop the tank from refilling while you work. If the water is sitting low, drained down below the normal line, that is actually good news. That means water is getting past the clog slow, which tells me we are dealing with the soft, organic kind. And that is exactly the kind this method eats for breakfast. Reading that level is you diagnosing the patient before you treat it. 30 seconds of looking saves you the whole job. Number 2, the dish soap is the secret, not the plunger. Number 2, go to your kitchen and grab the dish soap, not the fancy stuff. The cheap grease-cutting kind you use on a greasy pan is perfect, because that is exactly what it is going to do down there. Here is what most people never understand about a common toilet clog. It is not a rock. It is a soft mass of paper and waste, and a good bit of what holds that mass together and sticks it to the sides of the trap is grease and body oils and film. That soap is built to break grease apart. So you squirt a generous amount right into the bowl, a good long pour, maybe a quarter of the bottle if the clog is stubborn. Let it sink. Soap is heavier than water, so it slides down through the water and coats the top of that clog and starts working its way in. And do not be shy with it. A timid little squirt is the number 1 reason folks tell me this trick did not work for them. It worked fine. They just rationed the soap like it was the last bottle on earth. Give it a real pour and let it do its job. Between you and me, this one ingredient does half the work in this whole video, and it costs about a nickel. Hold that thought, because in number 7, I am going to show you the physics of why it matters so much. Number 3, Hot water, and I mean hot, not boiling. Number 3, and listen close because people get this one dangerously wrong. You want hot water. You do not want boiling water. Go to your tap and run it as hot as it goes, or heat a pot on the stove and let it cool for a minute after it boils. Hot water does 2 jobs at once. It thins out that grease the soap is already breaking up, and it softens the paper fibers so the whole mass loses its grip and starts to come apart. Warm and loose beats cold and stubborn every time. Now here is the safety part, and I am serious about it. Do not dump a pot of rolling boiling water into a cold porcelain bowl. That thermal shock can crack the porcelain, and a cracked toilet is a real toilet you now have to replace, which turns your $5 fix into a $300 one. Uncle Ray cracked a bowl doing exactly that back when he was young and cocky, and he never let me forget the lesson. Hot from the tap is plenty. Let the temperature do the work, not the drama. Number 4. Pour from your waist and walk away. Number 4 is the step that takes the most discipline because it asks you to do nothing. Take your hot water and pour it into the bowl from about waist height, not from up by your chin. We will talk about height in a minute and why more is not always better here, but a steady pour from your waist. You want it to go in with a little purpose, right down the center of the hole, so it drives the soap down into the clog instead of just sitting on top. Then you walk away. Set a timer for 15 minutes and go do something else. This is where everybody fails, because standing there, watching, feels like doing something, and walking away feels like giving up. It is the opposite. That soap and hot water need time to soak in, break the grease, and soften the mass. My uncle used to say the clog does not care how worried you are. It only cares how long the soap sits. So let it sit. Come back in 15. And here is a little trick for the waiting. While that timer runs, go get your water heating for the next step. A bucket from the hot tap or a pot on the stove. That way, the second your 15 minutes is up, your hot water is standing by ready to go. You never lose momentum, and the clog never gets a chance to cool off and set back up on you. Real quick before number 5. If these steps already make more sense than what the hardware store guy told you, that is the whole point here. I am the Vintage Pipefitter, and every week I put out one more real repair like this one. Tap subscribe so the next fix finds you before the next thing breaks. It is free. Number 5. The bucket pour. The force trick that finishes it. Number 5. This is the move. This is the one that had me standing there with my jaw open. After that soak, you come back and you fill a bucket with a gallon or 2 of that same hot water. Now you pour, but this time you pour with force. You lift the bucket up higher, chest height, and you send that whole gallon down into the bowl in one fast, steady stream, right down the center. Not a trickle, a commitment. You are not filling the bowl, you are firing a column of water straight at the softened clog. What happens next is the good part. That fast, heavy water builds a head of pressure the second it hits, and it drives down on top of a clog that the soap and heat already turned soft. Soft blockage, hard shove, and it lets go. That is the gulp. That is the sound. And when it works, and on a common organic clog it almost always works, it is faster than any plunger you have ever swung. 2 quick pointers so you do not make a mess of your own bathroom. Aim straight down the center of the hole, not at the sides of the bowl. Water hitting the sides just splashes back up at you and does nothing to the clog. And if that bowl is still sitting high from earlier, bail some water out into a bucket first, so you have room to work. Otherwise, your big, forceful pour just turns into a big, forceful overflow, and you fixed nothing. If the first bucket does not do it, refill and give it one more good pour. 2 committed pours will clear just about any clog that was ever going to clear at all. Now you are probably wondering why a bucket of water does something your own two arms on a plunger sometimes cannot. That is number 7, and it is the best part of this whole thing, so stay with me. Number 6. Check that it is the toilet and not the line. Number 6. This is the one almost nobody checks, and it is the difference between a fix that works and an afternoon of throwing good water after bad. Before you swear the toilet is the problem, go check your other drains. Run the sink next to it. Flush a different toilet if you have one. Step into the tub and run that drain for a second. Here is what you are listening and looking for. If that other water drains away clean and quiet, good. Your clog is right there in the toilet trap where all this hot water and soap can reach it. But if you run the tub and you hear the toilet gurgle, or you flush upstairs and this bowl bubbles up, stop. That tells you the blockage is not in the toilet at all. It is downstream, out in the branch line, or the main, past where any bucket of water is going to help. Pouring more water into a bowl when the real clog is 30 feet down the line just fills the bowl. I have watched folks fight a toilet for an hour when the actual problem was a main line clog the whole house shared. 30 seconds of checking saves you that hour. This is the check that makes you smarter than the panic. Ask me how I know to look. Years back, I got called out to a lady who had been fighting a toilet with a plunger for the better part of an hour, red in the face, worn out. First thing I did was run her bathroom sink, and it backed up right into the tub. That toilet was never the problem. Her real clog was way out in the main line, and no amount of plunging that one bowl was ever going to touch it. 2 minutes of checking would have saved her the whole hour and saved her the phone call to me. Number 7. Why this actually works, the physics of the water column. Number 7. Let me tell you why all of this works, because once you understand it, you own it for life. A common toilet clog is not solid, and it is not permanent. It is a soft plug of paper and waste, held together and held in place by grease, film, and its own matting. The soap breaks the grease that binds it. The hot water softens the fibers and thins the grease further. So by the time you get to that bucket, you are not fighting a brick anymore. You are pushing on a wet sponge. Now the water column. When you pour a full gallon fast from up high, that water arrives with real weight and real speed behind it. A tall, fast column of water is heavy and it does not compress, so all of that force lands directly on the face of the clog instead of getting soaked up. That is a pressure head, plain and simple. Gravity turned into a shove. And here is why it can beat a plunger. When you plunge, part of what you are pushing is air, and air squishes, so some of your effort gets lost. A solid slug of water does not squish. Every bit of that push goes into the clog. Soft plug, incompressible hammer of water, and it goes through. That is the whole magic trick, and now it is not magic to you anymore. If that is still a little abstract, think about a garden hose. A hose on a lazy open trickle just dribbles out the end and could not knock over a leaf. Put your thumb over that same end, and suddenly it has snap. It can blast mud off your boots. Same water, same amount. All you changed was the speed. When you pour slow from your waist, you are the lazy trickle. When you send a full gallon fast from up high, you are the thumb over the hose. You are not adding more water, you are adding speed. And speed is what turns plain tap water into a tool that moves a clog. Number 8. What it means when it does not work. Number 8, and this is the honest one, because I am not going to pretend this fixes everything. When this method does not work, that failure is not bad luck. It is information, and it is telling you something specific. If you have done the soap, the hot soak, and 2 good bucket pours, and that water still will not go, then your clog is almost certainly not the soft, organic kind. That usually means one of 3 things. 1. There is a hard object down there, a kid's toy, a toothbrush, a wad of so-called flushable wipes that never break down like the box promised. 2. It is scale or a hard buildup that water cannot soften. Or 3, and you already ruled this out in number 6, it is downstream in the line. None of those 3 care about hot water, so do not keep pouring. And here is one more thing I feel strongly about. Do not reach for a bottle of chemical drain cleaner in a stopped-up toilet. I mean that. Those harsh chemicals just sit in the standing water and do next to nothing against a solid clog. And now you have got a bowl full of caustic liquid that has to be carefully bailed out before you or anybody else can safely put a tool down there. You took an easy job and made it a hazard. Skip the chemicals in a toilet every single time. When the water fails, you stop pouring and you reach for a tool, which is exactly where my bonus tip comes in. And here is the anti-upsell truth I want you to hold on to. Even when the water does not do it, you are usually still 1 cheap tool and 10 minutes away from the fix, not 1 expensive phone call away. Knowing the difference is the money saver. Bonus tip: the $5 tool that finishes the job. Here is the bonus I promised you, and it is the thing I would tell my own kid to keep under the bathroom sink. When the water alone will not do it, you do not call anybody yet. You reach for a closet auger, not the little sink snake, the closet auger, the one with the rubber sleeve built to protect your porcelain. You can find one at any hardware store, and the basic ones run you about $5 to $15. You feed the tip into the trap, crank the handle, and it either grabs that foreign object and pulls it back or it breaks the hard clog apart, so all that water you soaked in can finally carry it away. 1 tool, 1 time buy. It sits under your sink for 10 years. A word on using it so you do not scratch up that porcelain. Feed it in gentle and let the crank do the pushing. Do not go yanking on it like you are trying to start an old lawnmower. When you feel it grab or feel it break through, work the handle back and forth a couple times, then draw it out slow. Give it a flush and watch the bowl. 9 times out of 10, that is your fix, and it was sitting under your own sink the whole time. And while I have got you, the best unclogging trick of all is not needing one. Those so-called flushable wipes, the paper towels, the cotton stuff, none of it belongs in a toilet no matter what the box says. Toilet paper and what your body makes, that is the whole list. Keep it to that, and you will run this fix a whole lot less. Think about the math for a second, because this is the whole reason I do this. That auger is $5. A plumber coming out to hand crank the same tool for the same 10 minutes is $150 easy. More if it is a weekend. Same job, same result. The only difference is who did it and who kept the money. My Uncle Ray told me a long time ago that the trades are not magic. They are just knowing which cheap thing to reach for. And I have spent 45 years finding out he was right. Thank you for spending this time with me. If an old tradesman and a bowl of hot water saved you a service call today, then we did good work. That is what the Vintage Pipefitter is here for. Every week, I bring you another fix, the kind that takes years to learn and minutes to hand to you. Subscribe and stick around, and I will keep them coming.